Okay, take two. Hi, I'm Paloma. I'm here to live stream with you on YouTube for the release of my RAK session. Yeah, I thought it would just be really fun to talk a bit about the live session that we did of Labour. I had so much fun doing it. I kind of knew I wanted to do a sort of acoustic version of Labour because I'd had people ask for one, first of all, and also because it was one of those songs where because I just really felt that the lyrics were so important to people for such specific reasons, I thought it would be really, really nice to do like an alternative version. And so the idea originally came from doing just like an acoustic version, and then we got the idea of having a choir, and we ended up working with the amazing London Contemporary Voices, which is a 10-person all women's choir. And then we got in 4 wonderful cellos and a double bass, and it just ended up being this really, really lovely thing. And it was the best afternoon to be recording that and filming it at the same time. We filmed every take all in one take, and recorded every take all in one take, so it's all completely live. I mean, that's the point of a live session, but yeah, it was super, super fun. I'm really excited for you guys to hear it imminently. Yeah, I don't know. On this live stream, I thought I'd maybe play a bit. I have questions from you that I asked earlier that I could answer on this live stream about the RAK session. So maybe I'll start with them. Yeah, I'll start with some questions. Someone asked what was my inspiration to write the song. I was just sort of really frustrated. I don't know. It comes from sort of like how widespread and how normalized it is for women to give up so much of themselves in a relationship, and to just kind of have to beg for the bare minimum from their partners, and whilst doing a majority of the labor, and just this massive labor imbalance that there is in so many relationships, with most of it falling on women. And it's just whilst I've never been like the put upon housewife, it's something that I think about so much in terms of like domestic labor and what would prevent me from having a relationship of that kind, and also just the sheer emotional labor that women are doing in relationships, and women are just exhausted. And it's not even exclusive to women. There are all kinds of sort of like, femme presenting people who continue to labor in relationships. Yeah. Anyway, that was kind of where the inspiration came from. It was just kind of out of frustration. And I had no idea it was going to be heard by as many people as it ended up being heard by. And I'm incredibly moved by the response it's had. How did I come up with the lyrics? I never know how to answer this question when I get it. My lyrics like normally start sort of like with either like a few lines, or like I'll come up with like a little like rhyme scheme or something. I'll have, a couplet, or just some like a line or a few, and I kind of build the track around that. And I can't remember what this first line was. Actually, I think the first part of Labour that I wrote was the chorus, the capillaries in my eyes are bursting. If our love died, would that be the worst thing? For somebody I thought was my saviour, you shall make me do a whole lot of labour. As in, I was kind of, and then the line about the calluses on the hands cracking. I wanted to just convey like how just exhausting it was when you were expending so much of your emotional labour in a relationship with someone who doesn't have the same emotional investment, although they may like claim to. And Labour originally started as 2 different songs. One was kind of about the exhaustion of like being more emotionally invested in a relationship than the other person, and as a result doing more of the emotional labor. But and then the other song, as in which ended up, which is now like the bridge of labor, was more overtly about women doing all of the domestic labor and having to like play all of these roles whilst their male partners can just be themselves. But women are loved for sort of like the different roles they play, like being a wife and a mother, being a cook, and like, and you know, a nurse, and like parenting their significant others. Anyway, and so I kind of realized it didn't make sense to have them as two separate songs because they're one and the same, they're part of the same thing. So that was, sorry, that's a very long-winded answer to how did I come up with the lyrics. This leads into the next question, was how long was the writing process for the Labour lyrics? It wasn't that long, because when I realized that, as soon as I realized that I wanted those two songs to be the same song, it was just very quickly kind of like it all came like flowing out. And I think it was like it was like taking a pin out of something that was very restrictive. It was like taking a pin out of fabric, and then it all just flowed, because I'd had that in there, like some kind of, you know, oh, these are two songs I'm working on and I need to build each one of them. And I was like, actually this is kind of perfect, they complete each other. Because I remember I started writing it either like late July of last year or August, and then I went to LA and recorded and produced it with Justin Glasgow, and that was amazing. So it was within like a couple months of writing it, it was finished, and that was amazing. It really varies in my songwriting how long it takes, but yeah. I've got a question about the RAK session. What are the main differences between setting something like that up and recording originally? So many differences. Because at the RAK studio, which by the way is an amazing studio, it's crazy I was allowed in there. It's just this beautiful big studio, and also it takes a village recording things like doing a live session. I went in, and people were setting up like lighting and rigs and all these like setups for the choir and the cellos, and I was just sort of like sat in the center, and I had the easiest job. I kind of felt like I was just sat in the middle of a clock and I could just stay still, and everyone had to run around me, which was very nice and kind of ironic. But recording it was so different. Like recording the original, it was just Justin and I in the room, and we weren't always even in the same room. I was in the recording like booth, and he was upstairs in the through the glass, because he has like a glass window in his recording studio. Sorry. Yeah, so it was a really, really different vibe. I'd never done a live session before. It was like a completely different thing that I was used to. I actually have these really nice Polaroids that we took on the day, with Tim and Roy, who we worked with, because I worked with them on this unreleased project last year, and I loved working with them so much. So when we wanted to do this, we asked them to record this with me, and that is, you can't really see. Yeah, you can see. There is me, and that's Tim and Roy, and it was just really fun. And there I am. Great photo. These were on my fridge, and I took them off my fridge for the purpose of showing you guys on this live stream. I'll put them back on my fridge now. Tim, Roy, you're on my fridge. Yeah, it was a really crazy day. It was an insanely cool new experience to do that, to work with that many sort of new people, and to do it so intensely. We just ran like take after take after take after take. I had major issue. I didn't have major issue. I just really found it difficult to to do. We wanted to do a take that was a clean version where I don't swear. For some reason, I found that really hard. it is difficult, like sort of being like, oh yeah, just change this one word. It's difficult to remember to do that. I don't think it's about me just being really averse to the idea of not swearing, because I am foul mouthed. What does the line "and the silence haunts our bedchamber" mean? I was kind of thinking about loads of things, as in the silence that kind of hangs over a relationship when sort of one or both parties are starting to check out emotionally. The silence sort of being symbolic of one or both parties' lack of interest in kind of fixing the problems, lack of emotional engagement, often sort of. Oh, in the context of sort of Labour, I was thinking of the way in which kind of it's quite a common trope in problematic relationships between men and women, where men will sort of appear blindsided when a woman ends up leaving them, as if it came out of the blue, when they've not spoken to each other in months. They've not connected to each other with each other in months, and the woman will be sort of like quietly emotionally disengaging from the relationship, and that silence just sort of hanging over them, and then the man having the audacity to express that he feels blindsided by the ending of the relationship. It's not like it doesn't come out of nowhere. Do you feel like stripped back versions of your songs reflect your music more than the more produced? This is a really cool question. No, but like, I think it's not a matter of sort of them reflecting it more. It's a matter of sort of them presenting something different. So with my music, I'm not well versed in sort of like music theory. I don't sight read or anything. So I don't sight read. I don't read sheet music, and I don't. I'm just not good at writing like music first. So the lyrics always come first with me. Yeah, they come sort of hand in hand with the melodies, but it's always like I write like orally. I don't sort of like write. I sort of like sing and write at the same time with my guitar. And for that reason, with the lyrics sort of being like at the front and center of that creative process, it feels really nice to have a stripped back version where it's just like, okay, this is what is at the center of all my music, because whilst like my music, the sound of my music is the produced version, because that's a conscious and beautiful creative process that I get to make with like other people. Stripped back versions feel like they kind of point more overtly towards like the emotional core sometimes of the song. Yeah, because you can have a bop and then you can have a stripped back version of same bop and make it a. People say bop anymore, I don't know. What's my favourite line from Labour? I can't pick on. I like all of them. I wrote all of them. No, I don't know actually. I'm really bad at picking favourite things out of my own stuff, because anything that feels like an overt compliment of my own work, I feel wrong about. That's an issue I have. I should fix that. What's one lyric that hits me deep? That's another question. That's a good one. I'm assuming it means from another song. But it's the one on the Boy Genius record recently. It's always an angel, never a god. And I heard Lucy Dacus talking about like her idea behind that line, and it just like it's amazing. And I'm so like, did you ever see Donald Glover's like speech about Phoebe Waller-Bridge and how he was like livid when he watched Fleabag because he didn't write it? And there are some lines that I cannot express my disappointment at not being the one to have written them, and that's one of them. I think always an angel, never a god. Yeah. Anyway, maybe I should play some music now. I don't know, because you're literally about to hear the not the live stream. This is the live stream. You're about to hear the RAK session, so I don't know if you want to hear the song twice in a row. Yeah, the RAK session was one of the most fun afternoons I've had so far in my career. Just to be able to work with people I trust so much, like Tim and Roy, and we had Isabel Gracefield engineering, and it was just so great. And there was sort of just this big room in the RAK studio in Studio One, I believe it is. If I'm wrong, correct me. And then obviously Tim and Roy and Isabel were on the other side of the glass, and yeah, it was just so many people. I didn't know it took so many people, but it did take so many people. Anyway, I might sing a song. Why you hanging hard, so tight to the rope that I'm hanging from? Of this island, this is an escape plan. Carefully timed it, so let me go and dive into the waves below. Who tends the orchard? Who fixes up the gables? Emotional torture from the head of your high table. Who fetches the water from the Rocky Mountain spring and walk back down again to feel your words in their sharp stare? And I'm getting fucking tired. The capillaries in my eyes are bursting. If our love died, would that be the worst thing? For somebody I thought was my savior, sure made me do a whole lot of labor. The callous skin on my hands is cracking. If our love ends, would that be a bad thing? And the silence haunts of a chamber. You made me do too much labor. Apologies for my tongue, and never yours. Busy lapping from flowing cup and stabbing with your fork. I know you're a smart man and weaponize the false incompetence. It's dominance under guise. If we had a daughter, I'd watch and could not save her. The emotional torture from the head of your high table. She'd do what you told her. She'd meet the same cruel fate. So now I've gotta run so I can undo this mistake. At least I've gotta try. The capillaries in my eyes are bursting. If our love died, would that be the worst thing? For somebody I thought was my savior, sure made me do a whole lot of labor. The callous skin on my hands is cracking. If our love ends, would that be a bad thing? And the silence haunts of a chamber. You made me do too much labor. Whole day, everyday therapist, mother maid, nymph and a virgin, nurse and a servant, just on a bandage, live to attend him so that he never lifts a finger. 24/7 baby machine, so he can live out his picket fence dreams. It's not an act of love if you make her. You made me do too much labor. All day, everyday therapist, mother maid, nymph and a virgin, than a servant, just an appendage. Live to attend him so that he never lifts a finger. 24/7 baby machine, so he can live out his It's picket fence dreams. It's not an act of love if you make her. You made me do too much labor. The capillaries in my eyes are bursting. If our love died, would that be the worst thing? For somebody I thought was my savior, sure made me do a whole lot of labor. The callouskin on my hands is cracking. If our love ends, would that be a bad thing? And the silence won't stop a chamber. You made me do too much labor. Cool. I hope you enjoy the RAK session, and thanks for joining me for this little live stream ahead of it. I hope you enjoy the RAK session, and anyone who's coming to a gig soon, I look forward to seeing you and playing Labour live for you. But yeah, for now, enjoy the RAK session. I had the most fun making it.